I swear on everything that I love that this had better not continue to be a trend once the actual season starts. Okay, so I know that I already made a video ranting about the NBA referees during the preseason recently, mentioning how they are calling every little foul, resulting in pretty much every game having 60, 70, or even 80 fouls called. And yes, I know that it's just the preseason, that they're trying to send a message to the players that this is what's going to be called this season, which by the way is literally everything. When I say that you can't even accidentally touch a player, I mean, you can't touch a player for any reason. The slightest bit of contact is now deemed to be a foul. But see, my problem right now is that not only are the refs calling literally everything, I don't think there's ever been a time in league history that we've seen this many technical fouls and ejections in the preseason alone. Kyle Lowry got ejected with the quickness last night. Said something to the ref, that's a text. Said one more word and he's gone. Kevin Durant and Steve Kerr both got ejected the other night because they had had enough of the refs making these little tic-tac foul calls against Stephen Curry. The thing is, the players that they are ejecting are the players that people come out to see play or are watching on TV to see play. We don't want to see a player get ejected because you're making some dumb calls and then get caught up in your feelings because you get called out for it. What's even worse though is that the refs called KD for 6 personal fouls in just 3 quarters in the Warriors game against the Lakers last night, and most of the fouls were very touchy foul calls. I mean, before this season, you never even would have heard of a player like Kevin Durant picking up 6 fouls in just 24 minutes of playtime. And this was supposed to be the game that everyone was looking forward to, watching LeBron on the Lakers for the first time playing against the Warriors, but we couldn't even enjoy it that much because, you know, you threw out one of the Warriors' best players in the third quarter, pretty much deciding the outcome of the game right there. And also, you blew your whistle 65 times. It's really hard to enjoy a game when there's a foul call every 45 seconds. All right, so we have an update on this whole Jimmy Butler situation, and it's pretty freaking huge. First off, it's now clearly evident that this thing was planned out by Jimmy Butler. And when I say this thing is planned out, I mean everything. He's planned out everything that's happened over the past 24 hours. Because maybe an hour and a half after the Jimmy Butler incident at the Wolves practice where he went off on coaches, players, and the GM, he was doing an interview with Rachel Nichols. Yeah, only an hour and a half, and he's already doing an interview about the incident. That has to be planned out. And it was. The interview was actually scheduled like a week ago. And if Jimmy Butler knew he had this interview coming up, had to have known that during the practice when he was acting the way he did. There's no way that he forgot about this. So if he knew and this whole thing was premeditated on his end, now the question is, why? What was Jimmy Butler hoping to accomplish with this? And I think I have the answer, but first I do have to fill you guys in case you haven't heard the interview yet, on some things that he was saying during this interview. And the first thing he did was acknowledge that all of this was true. Everything that we heard about him confronting the players, coaches, and GMs was 100% true, or for the most part.
How would you describe what happened today?
A lot of it's true. A lot of it is true.
But he said he did this because he just had so much pent up energy, and this is just who he is. He's a competitor. He hasn't been able to play for a while, so this was just all the stored up competitiveness flowing out of him.
But you gotta think, I haven't played basketball in so long, and I'm so passionate, and I love the game, and I don't do it for any other reason except for to compete and go up against the best to try to prove that I can hang. So all my emotion came out at one time.
Also, that he thinks him doing this just made everyone who was at that practice a better player.
You go and you ask any one of my players, did you get better today? Ask one of my teammates, did you get better today? Every last one of them is gonna say, yeah.
Also, he wanted to make it clear that everyone knows that he is the hardest working player on the Wolves, even though he might not be the most talented or the most gifted.
I'm not the most talented player. Who's the most talented player on our team? Cat. Who's the most God-gifted player on our teams? Wiggs. Wiggs got the longest arms, biggest hands, can jump the highest, can run the fastest. But like, who plays the hardest? Me. I play hard. I play really hard.
And that his purpose in all of this was to get the message across to his teammates that they have to play harder and try to win.
So what message were you trying to get across to everyone today?
To play hard, that's it. Play for one another. Win.
And he also wanted to let his teammates know that if anything were to ever happen to him, that he would have their back no matter what.
I got your back. If you get knocked down, count on 23 to pick you up, and whoever knock you down, knock him down again. Do it. I dare you. I'm going to be there. Find me. Give me a T. Give me 2. Throw me out the game. But whenever my guys come into the locker room, they're going to be like, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. You had my back.
And then he said that he still loves the team that he is on and that he thinks that he can bring the best out of all of those guys.
I love the team that I'm on. This has nothing to do with the players that I play with. I know what I'm gonna get from Jeff. I know what I'm gonna get from Wiggs. I know what I'm gonna get from Cat. I know what I'm gonna get, and I can bring the best out of each one of those guys.
And that's what really got trippy right there, because Jimmy Butler said all of this, right? He says everything like this, so just hearing this, you would think that maybe now he's had a change of heart and doesn't want to be traded for the Minnesota Timberwolves, that he's cool now, he's gonna work with what he got and try and get the best out of his teammates. He's ready to lead the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's what it sounded like, but Jimmy Butler said otherwise. He said that he still wants out.
Should people think because you are back in practice that this is fixed, or it's on its way to being fixed?
It's not. It's not fixed. Let's just be honest. It's not fixed.
Is it fixable?
It could be. It could be. But do I think so? No. Because you got to be honest.
And that was pretty much all of the main points of this interview. And remember that this interview was planned like a week ago. And Jimmy Butler just so happened, coincidentally, had a freak out an hour and a half before this interview. So once again, the question is, what exactly was the purpose of this? If he still wants to be traded, like, what was the purpose of this? Well, I think it's pretty clear what the purpose was. It was to get teams to trade for him. See, over the past few weeks, Jimmy Butler he's been monitoring how trade negotiations have been going. And he knows that at this rate, he probably won't be traded for a while, since teams aren't willing to give up what the Wolves are asking for in exchange for Jimmy Butler. And he also sees that some franchises and fans and people around the league are starting to give him the label of a problem child, that he might be gifted, but he also might be a locker room cancer. He might be toxic, which is deterring some teams from even thinking about trading for him. So Jimmy Butler sees all of this, and he now knows that if he wants to get out of Minnesota this season, that he's going to have to do something to get out of Minnesota this season, to get teams to actually want to trade for him and put himself in a good light. And this is what he came up with. He came up with this stunt and this interview. He decided that he's going to try and show the world firsthand exactly what he is about. Show the world the very best side of himself. So he said, let me go into this practice, cause up a stir, make a huge scene, and then right afterwards, I'll have an interview where I explain exactly what was going on. And let's be real here. Let's be 100% real here. Jimmy Butler, in this interview with Rachel Nichols, made himself sound like a freaking saint. He made himself sound like the best teammate that the NBA has ever seen. He was talking about how he makes everyone better, how he's just the ultimate competitor. He's the hardest working guy on the team, even though he's not the most talented or skilled player. He's always honest with his teammates. He's always going to have their back, no matter if that means him getting ejected from his game. And the teammates are gonna love it, the coach is gonna love it, everyone's gonna love it. Everyone loves Jimmy Butler. This is what he has portrayed himself as in just a matter of 24 hours. Once again, he went from being seen as possibly a problem child to being seen as the best teammate in the world in just 24 hours, in one stunt and one interview. That's the goal of Jimmy Butler right there, and he accomplished it. He did a great job of executing this plan. This was freaking genius on the end of Jimmy Butler. I gotta give him props, because he just finessed the entire NBA world into thinking he is the best thing since the last best thing. I don't know where I'm going with that. But it does leave me with one question. Was this all an act? Is this really the type of teammate and person that Jimmy Butler is behind the scenes? Or did he just finesse the entire NBA world into simply thinking this is who he is, so he can get rid of the bad label that's been put on his name and also get teams to try and trade for him? things to think about. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about all of this down in the comments section below. Thank you once again for watching, and if you haven't already, make sure to smack that like button and subscribe to the channel so you can stay updated with everything that goes on in the NBA on a daily basis. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs though, and until tomorrow, I am out of here. Peace!